Hello, everyone. It's Penny Peerboom coming to you live from my home office. And today I have a special treat. We're going to talk to Matt Cavanaugh from Fairway Independent Mortgage. And let me just bring up a photo and tell you a little bit about Matt. You know, we have a lot of moving parts in the real estate transaction, and it's really important that we have the right people on our team that's going to keep that transaction going smoothly. And Matt is someone that I always depend upon to help my clients and to help me with information about what's going on in the industry. And I cannot say enough great things about Matt. He's part of the Argumento I can't say that correctly, Argumento A team, which is made up of Matt and two other loan officers, Alicia Cavanaugh, his wife, and Hector Argumento. They've all been in the business for quite some time, and Matt actually got in the business in 2008, so he knows a little bit about this unique environment that we're in right now, and he's got a unique perspective because he's been with a few different mortgage companies over the years, and he knows a lot about what different lenders can do. That means whoever I send to him, I know can get a loan done. He'll, figure it out. He gets everything up front, and I feel confident that he is going to get it done. He's the father of 6 kids, an active member in the community and his church, and with his experience and balance with God, family, and work, I like to get his perspective on things, which is why I have him on here today. Hello, Matt. How are you? Ooh, let me get you on.
There I am.
How are you? Good to see you. I miss you.
I know. We got to get to hanging out again like the old days. We call it the old days now. It's only been a little while, but yeah.
I know. How are things going? What do we need to know when it comes to mortgage?
When it comes to mortgages, I would say the number one thing is that if you're seeking a mortgage right now, you've got to make sure you've got the team behind you that can get it done. You want to make sure there's communication. Oh, are you still? Yeah. Tons and tons of communication. You want to make sure that you're staying in constant contact with your lender. Hopefully they're reaching out to you. But if they're not reaching out to you, you reach out to them. So you just want to make sure as guidelines change and as rules are changing that you're staying up to date. And again, if you aren't under contract already and you're seeking a mortgage, there could be some things that affect your mortgage. So again, communication, having the right team behind you, that's going to be key buying a house right now.
Awesome. Well, I keep hearing this word forbearance. And
sure.
What does that mean for us? What do we know about that term?
Well, it's kind of funny. What I'll do is probably there's a guy. He's an awesome leader, amazing man of God. His name is Matt Hamburger, and he works for Fairway as well, but with the Wood Group. So he leads the team there in New Braunfels. And he, on a comment recently, talked about being cautious, if you will, using discernment and giving advice right now. So I'll stay away from the advice side of things, and I'll stay more on the just what it is and maybe what is not, but not really talk about whether you should or shouldn't do it. That's going to be depending on your circumstance. So one of the things I think about is a lot of people think forbearance means forgiveness. Like, hey, I can't make my payment right now, so the government has said that you don't need to make your payment. And that's not at all what it is, right? So it's not, forbearance does not mean forgiveness. So in other words, it doesn't just go away. The other thing that it's not is, I know, like with Randolph Brooks as an example, when you have an auto loan through them or through other lenders too, from time to time, you'll get something saying, hey, you've been such a great client. It's Christmas time. You don't have to make a payment. So we're going to let you skip December, and then your payment will be due again in January. And what that might mean is maybe you had a 5-year loan, and now you have a 5-year and 1-month loan. In other words, they just put it on the end. That is also not what forbearance is. The easiest way to kind of explain forbearance is you are saying, I can't make my payment right now. You have called your servicer, and your servicer has done some things to acknowledge, yes, you are eligible to do this forbearance. So let's say it's 3 months, 6 months, and you're Uncle Bob, and Uncle Bob owes $1,000 a month. So what you can do in forbearance is they say, okay, you don't have to pay us this month or next month or even the month after. So that's 3 months of payments. That would be $3,000. So on that next month's payment, the 4th month, you owe all of that money plus that month's payment. So after 3 months of forbearance, you would owe $4,000 because, again, the 3 months you skipped plus the one. So in other words, it doesn't go away or it doesn't just get tacked on to the end. It's all due when your forbearance period is over. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And you know, you got to be you got to be super careful. Can you hear me? You can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah. You got to be incredibly careful.
I had that with my credit card. My credit card said, "Hey, no payment, no interest until November." And I'm thinking, that's awesome. Well, I'm not going to pay my bill this month, but that doesn't mean that in November I'm not going to have to pay all of it and incur all that interest. So
that could be a little bit different. I mean, forbearance is you have to call into your servicer. You have to make sure that they've agreed to you being able to do this. In other words, you can't just stop making payments and think everything will be okay, especially if you want it to not negatively impact your credit. The biggest thing here is, again, back to the beginning, communication with whoever it is that's servicing your loan. You want to make sure that they've told you this is something you can or cannot do, and then you've set up terms with them already. And the big thing to know is it's not just about forbearance. When it comes to forbearance, there's different kinds of forbearances, if you will. There's reinstatement, repayment plans, deferment, modification. There's a lot of things that go into that word forbearance. So when you call your servicer, you'll talk to them about, hey, what are my options right now? And then what does it mean at the end of that 3-month or 6-month period? Because there's a lot of rules that play into that. And I guess a big thing to really be thinking about is not just what you can or cannot do right now, but what happens at the end of that 6 months. So, hey, you don't have to make payments for 6 months, but at the end of 6 months, can you afford, if you can't pay all 6 months right now, can you afford to have that payment? Just like let me back up just a little bit. Just like when your taxes are due, if your taxes went up and you owe some money, but you don't have all that money to pay now, what they do is they put that tax payment in your payment now. So you might see your payment go up by $200 or $300 because of the shortage you had in your escrows before. It's kind of that same thing. If you owe $6,000 and you can't pay it all right now, they might take that $6,000 and break it up into 12 payments. So now your payment might go up $300 or $500 to make up that difference, depending on the situation. So again, stay in contact with your servicer. The big thing is I'm not trying to give advice, but as a lender, I'm saying, don't just assume that it's going to be the easiest road to take the forbearance. Even if you know that you can't make your full mortgage payment, it's probably still a good idea to make as much of the payment as you can. So as an example, your payment's $1,500 a month. You could give $1,000. So you probably don't want to just give nothing because that option is there, because again, you don't want to owe it at the end of that forbearance term.
You brought up a very good point. You know, the point of today was not to really go into great detail about any of this, but to introduce everyone to you and know that you're available to give them individual advice, because everyone's situation is different and people hear things in the news and they think it applies to them, and they really need the advice of a trusted professional. I trust you more than anybody when it comes to mortgages, and I know that you're going to give the right information and take everyone's individual situation into consideration.
Yeah.
So I love that. So I want to bring up too what makes Fairway so special. You're wearing your red shirt. I couldn't find my red shirt, but I got something red on, and I want to bring this photo up. Tell us about Red Fridays. And you guys, to the left here are 3 of Matt's 6 beautiful children, and I'm going to have him tell you what Red Friday is all about.
So just wearing red is remembering the individuals, the soldiers, the people who are still deployed, and just remembering that they're still out there and they're still sacrificing and being heroes for us back here. And so it's just a little thing that we can do to say, hey, we recognize you, we appreciate you, and thank you. So we wear red every single Friday. In fact, the whole family does, just to make sure that anybody who does see us, and we have veterans stop us all the time and other members of the general public who wear red as well, and they thank us for doing that. So it's just, again, a small thing that we can do. Wearing red, or the the idea behind this is the American Warrior Initiative, and that's something that our big leader Louise Thaxton made up, she formed this nonprofit organization. And what they do, it's kind of several things, but you can just Google American Warrior Initiative, and it will pop up and tell you all about kind of where they go. And it's nationwide, so they travel all over the place. I think it's been over 30,000 members of the real estate community, whether it's agents or other professionals, who get to go to these, what we call them, boot camps, and they get to go in and learn about how to help veterans in a bigger way, how to be more informed and maybe what they went through before now they're trying to settle in a home. And really, the big idea is just to make sure that they know that, hey, you sacrificed your life and your time for our community here, for the United States, and we want to help you to be able to complete that dream of owning a home. So that's a big part of it. Another thing is, even once they own the home, so we had somebody late last year who had purchased a home, they got an inspection. For some reason, the inspection wasn't able, or they didn't catch that there was a leak. And because the inspector didn't catch it and nobody said anything, it was kind of going to be that veteran's deal. Like, hey, sorry, that cost is going to be yours. Well, he happened to call into our group, and we were able to help him out to get the roof fixed, the drywall fixed, and basically take care of those problems for him. Again, because he served our country, we can't think of a better way to say thank you than to make sure his house is okay. That's it, and that is the website, and there's a lot of great information. Thank you for showing that, Penny. Yeah, it's really great. So there's some really wonderful individuals involved in it too. If you all get a chance, it's definitely worth doing that. And we actually had a boot camp plan for May 5th, so it's been right around the corner. But of course, because of the virus, we canceled it early on. But we're going to have that again. And what we're going to do at these boot camps is, again, we learn all about what the American Warrior Initiative is. You get your designation, but we will generally have a veteran there that we honor by doing something for that veteran. And it might be a grant of some sort to help them get a business started. A lot of times it's been animals like dogs to be able to comfort them. So service dogs. There's been all kinds of different things that have happened through the American Warrior Initiative that have been just amazing. And the veterans are just so moved by it. And it's just a really great thing to do for that community. Do you have any questions about it, Penny?
Can you hear me okay? Matt?
You're back. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, you're back.
I'm back. Yeah, you didn't mention how your the CEO of Fairway is involved, because that was when Louise came out. She mentioned how the Fairway CEO was involved.
Yeah. So what the biggest thing I can think of, he's involved heavily. So Steve Jacobs, he's a huge part of it. But one of the main things he does is he underwrites all of it. So what I mean is, whenever we have people, let's say, buy the red shirts, or they donate towards the initiative, they donate towards, again, getting a service dog or something like that, 100% of that money goes to the veteran, goes to the cause, because Steve Jacobs picks up the flights to get maybe the service person there, or Luis and other people there. It is underwritten completely by Fairway, so that none of the donations go to anything other than the cause, which is amazing. I don't know of any other company that does it quite like that.
I think it's amazing, and I can't wait till she comes back. She's amazing as well. Well, one last thing, because we could be on here forever. I wanted to
talk a long time, right?
I know. Gosh, you guys, poor Matt. He's so patient with me. When I get on the phone with him, I can go on for quite some time. I kind of save all my questions for him.
I want to say thank you for that. So there's one thing I can say about Penny. I can say a lot of things. She's wonderful, but she is an educator at heart. Like, she's always looking for what can she do to make sure she got the knowledge she needs so she can really, really help. It's not just about a transaction. It's not just about, hey, how many houses can I sell? But how can I really impact and help families? And I've seen that over and over again with her clients, where she'll help them decide on something, even if it doesn't work out to be where she gets to sell or help them buy a house. She really wants their family to be in the right position. She's a teacher.
Thank you for that, Matt. And quite honestly, when I was in real estate school, and they would go over the financing part, I understood it in general, but I thought, well, I don't have to know all these little details because after all, I'm going to send them to a lender and then they're going to come back. But I can't tell you, the education that you've provided me has helped me so many times warn my clients about things that I see them experiencing either with, an online lender that they've never met, or maybe somebody that they trusted for a long time but is not giving them the full picture. And so it's been so helpful to my business to be able to give them another perspective. And quite often I say, just talk to Matt. Or, there's several great lenders in our community too. It's like picking your favorite child. And so, but when I do send them, I'm like, just talk to him, just get another perspective. You can still use your lender that you've had for years. Get another perspective. And a lot of times they find that, wow, they have an experience that they've never had before. Somebody that really listens and asks a ton of questions until they understand what's going to be the right course of action for that client.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I want to bring up this real quick. And we could go on forever, but I want to just bring up this because I love when y'all put this on about the mortgage.
I think I'm back. Hello? So I can't hear you anymore, Penny. I'm not sure if you're talking. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Hey, I'm learning.
There you are.
So I wanted you to tell us about the graphic, because when the Fed rates went, when the Fed rates went down, everyone just was like, interpreting that in their own special way. And I love that graphic that you guys put up about, this is apples and oranges. So just tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the thing to really think about is, when you're coming to you with mortgages or talking about mortgage rates, it's not an individual bank who's making a decision to what is your rate going to be for that day. It's all about the investors, right? So when you're talking about Fed rates and mortgage rates, just super broad, super high level, or not high level, super easy way to think about it is that we're not tied to what you would be able to go down and get a let's say commercial note for, but specifically that Fed rate is tied to what the banks let each other borrow money at. It doesn't have anything to do with mortgage loans. So that's why that oranges versus apples things, you're not going to see the Fed cut rates and it necessarily have an impact on us, especially for the same amount. It all has to do with what the investors do with the information that the Fed rate has been cut. So you'll see some change in rate, but it's not directly because of the Fed rate being cut. It's because of what the investors decide to do. Does that make sense? Kind of, sort of. If y'all have questions about that, it's a longer answer, but you can definitely get a hold of me.
Again, the whole point of this is that. I don't know why people don't want to call the lender. They ask us all these questions, and I'm like, well, let's have a conversation with the lender. And I don't know, like they think you're a scary person or something. You're not scary. That's why I would bring you on. And I want people to call you. And I'm gonna put up your contact information here. Let's see if I can do my point to it. Right, but there's Matt's contact info. Matt, my mortgage guy. Let me know if you want to have a conversation with Matt. I will forward his number to you. And even if you're not ready to make a purchase right now, it's good to get in touch with you to find out what the future holds, for you. I had a client recently that I went to Matt, and I met them. It was a sign call. They drove by one of my listings, and they called me up, and they said, you know what, we're not ready. going to take us another year or two before we're ready. And I said, well, you know what? That's okay. I'm patient. Why don't we give Matt a call, though, and he can help you get ready. And they learned a lot about how to get ready for a mortgage loan that they didn't know, that they were talking about. And he had them approved within the month, which was fabulous. And they're going to be a lifetime client. They thought they were going to have to wait. And you know what? If they had waited and done the things that they were advised to do, they might have found themselves in a position where they were doing the wrong things, you know. And so that was a wonderful transaction. I appreciate it.
That's a great piece of advice for sure. If somebody's thinking about buying in the next 6 months, 2 years, getting with us now, Penny, and making sure that they've got the plan in place, they've saved the right money, they've gotten the credit scores where they need to be, and they're really paying attention to what's happening.
Absolutely. Lost you for a
There?
minute.
Hello?
Yep, we're back. Yes.
For some reason, the audio is off again.
Yep.
There I am. Can you hear
You're
me?
back. You're back. I can hear you.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So the big thing is just to stay in contact with us, because it's going to be very important to be ready when that 6 months or 2 years is up. And who knows, you may be ready a lot sooner than you thought, just like these clients.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Matt can give you all sorts of advice as to like.
I can't hear you for some reason.
Oh, well, I hope everybody else can hear me. Anyway, I'll keep talking. Hopefully you'll get in touch with Matt. Matt can give you all sorts of advice on what affects your credit, what debt to income ratio is, what interest rates are doing, what we predict for the future, how a rise in mortgage rates affects your buying power, all these things.
There you are. I can hear you.
I kept talking. And how, if you're renting, what you could afford to buy for the same amount, all these different topics. So I'll flash up his number again. There it is. But contact me, and I will get his information to you. And thank you so much, Matt, for taking time out of your day.
Thank you, Penny.
It was good to see
Absolutely.
you. And I hope you and the kids are enjoying this special time. I hope they're not driving you up the wall.
No, they've been amazing. They're getting closer and closer. It's like bittersweet, right? Like it's bad we're here, but I can tell you the family's doing really good, getting closer. We're having a good time.
Oh, have you ever seen so many kids playing out in the street? Like, I never see that. And now I see kids. And the cool thing is I see their parents playing out in the street with them. It's so cool.
Yeah. We go on walks around here, and I didn't even know we had this many people that lived in the community. So it's awesome.
I know. It's been a blessing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
Bye, you guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.